This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. We had a rainy Monday. I think we all made some kind of soup yesterday.
Yeah.
The question here, do you have leftovers for today?
I do.
Yes. And for tomorrow, I do too.
Yes.
Because
2 days? No, I don't have it.
Well, you have a full house.
Yes, right.
I live
That's true.
alone.
That's true.
No, I just made it for myself. My husband figured out what he's going to eat. I made it for myself.
And that's the beauty of the slow cooker, because then you have portions for yourself or guests for presumably a couple days, hopefully afterward.
Especially dealing with this soup-like weather that we're going to need.
Yeah, we're going to be eating soup and walking through soup, basically, as we head into the next couple of days. Right now, we are focused in on the light rain that is taking over more areas of wave country. So for those of you anywhere from near Paoli all the way towards Campbellsville, you're seeing a little bit of that rain coming down right now. So even up towards Seymour, a few spotty showers showing up in that area towards Seymour and Hayden. Then for those of you closer to Southeast, Oregon Springs, even towards New Albany, Charlestown, into the Highlands, towards Goshen, and even towards St. Matthews, you're seeing some more of those showers. This stretches all the way to the south towards Lebanon. So a lot of us getting in on the light rain. And if you're not dealing with the light rain, you're most likely dealing with drizzle this morning. In the 40s and low 50s still across the area. And with the clouds and that light rain and the drizzle in our forecast for today, boy, is it going to be a struggle for our temperatures to warm up, eventually ending up in the mid 50s for most of us. The metro could see some upper 50s, but that's really it for today. Tomorrow, though, is looking colder with more rainfall coming our way. So keep that in mind as you're planning ahead. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. Not showing up on the map right now, but I'm just going to report in from Trummark about an accident 264 East at Brownsboro Road. So we are keeping an eye on that. 2-car response there. We do have police in that area. Again, this is 264 East at Brownsboro Road. Just within the last 2 to 3 minutes, reports of an incident there. Maybe because of the rainy weather, maybe not. We're going to keep our eyes open on that. Otherwise, things looking pretty good. Your drive time through the metro, 10 minutes or under. We're going to keep an eye on the conditions this morning, but of course, keep the headlights and the windshield wipers on throughout the morning. You're going to need them. But we also have something we want to pass along to you that may affect your travel. It's a traffic alert to tell you about now. Blasting returns to the Waterson Expressway. This is part of the widening project in that area. There's going to be intermittent roadblocks weekdays about 2 p.m. Now, the delays can last up to 20 minutes near the new VA hospital. That's just off of Brownsboro Road, that widening project, expected to be completed by fall 2027. Shannon, back over to you.
Thank you. This morning, a woman is fighting for her life after her family says she was shot by a man at a birthday party.
When LMPD responded to the scene, they say an officer then shot a man holding a gun. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote brought you the story's breaking news on Sunrise yesterday. She has more after hearing from the family of that woman. Kirsten?
That's right, Olivia. Shannon, good morning to you guys. We heard from Tiffany Rayner's son, and he says that he was standing right by her this Monday morning when she was shot in the head. Now, her son did not want to speak with us on camera. However, he did tell us that they were gathered celebrating his 20th birthday before the shooting on Ridgecrest Road. He says that at one point, one of his friends started arguing with his mother and then shot her in the head. When LMPD responded to that scene, they say Frank Aguilar was holding a gun, pointing it at officers. Police say after officers asked him to put the gun down multiple times, after he wouldn't, eventually an officer fired their gun, hitting him at least one time. Now, neighbors that we spoke with in the area, they say the tragedies like this are not normal there.
Nobody has ever had any problem over here. All the neighbors know each other. I mean, great community, great bunch of people. I mean, all the way down to that stop sign, everybody knows each other. Everybody. It's just great. And see all these police cars, like, dang, oh, what's going on?
Aguilar later died from his injuries at the hospital Monday morning. We have not learned the name of the LMPD officer who fired their weapon. And per LMPD protocol, when it comes to officer-involved shootings, we should get body-worn camera of the incident in 10 business days. Reporting live, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Kirsten, thank you. This week, Louisville will host a national conference focused on reducing violence in communities across the country. The first events of the city's United 12th annual gathering start today. The conference at the Galt House will host more than 1,300 people looking to share lessons on interrupting violence and investments in communities to create safe environments. The conference runs through Friday.
A cyclist is recovering from serious injuries after they were hurt in a hit-and-run crash in Shively. Police say the man you see right here is a person of interest in the case, and they want to know who he is. The crash happened last Tuesday on 7th Street Road around 11 a.m. Police say a driver in a car hit a bicyclist and left the scene. If you recognize this man, call Shively Police.
We're working to learn more after a 16-year-old girl was hit by a car outside of Roby Elementary in Bullitt County. Shepherdsville police say that crash happened just before 7:30 Monday morning. The teen girl was conscious when she was taken to Norton Children's Hospital. An update on her condition has not been released. The driver stayed at the scene of the crash and no charges have been filed against them.
I want to be very clear. USDA, during this shutdown, has contingency funds that they could release just like us. They are choosing not to.
Starting on November 1st, SNAP food stamp benefits may no longer have federal funding, and this is causing concern for millions of Americans. SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program that provides low-income Americans help each month. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says it will not tap into its $6 billion contingency fund to cover food stamp benefits next month if the government shutdown continues. Senate Republicans have insisted the best way to keep the programs working is to end the shutdown. Illinois' governor blames the White House for the cuts.
I don't think the Democrats are serious about this. They are using this as leverage. They want the pain. They want these statements to come out from the insurance companies come November 1st. And John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, actually proposed to get this on the Senate floor for debate and a vote.
Donald Trump is unwilling to reopen the government, unwilling to sit down with Democrats. I mean, he's in control of the government. He should be willing to talk about it and work on it before those SNAP benefits are taken away.
The USDA says states won't be reimbursed for funding SNAP benefits during the shutdown.
The release of new national dietary guidelines is on hold due to the government shutdown. Trump administration officials say the funding stoppage disrupted efforts to finalize the guidelines overhaul by the end of October. Both the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Agriculture are now tentatively targeting December for the rollout of the highly anticipated nutrition advice. It comes as HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has previously highlighted the revamp as a chance to transform people's eating habits. The dietary guidelines, updated every 5 years, also carry implications for school meals and several federal nutrition programs.
With the government shutdown, some Louisville financial advisors say they're seeing an increase of calls expressing concerns about managing money right now.
Rob Wells is back with the tips and advice that may help. Rob?
Good morning, Olivia. A financial advisor I spoke with said that the government shutdown is now having a trickle-down effect here across the Commonwealth. They tell me that people are contacting them with questions like taking money out of their investments or 401k plans, as many federal workers have now missed their very first paycheck. An advisor tells me that the best advice is not to make any hasty decisions right now, but rather reach out to a financial expert who may be able to provide some guidance. Meanwhile, the American Banking Association says that right now you should be reviewing monthly expenses to determine ways to possibly reduce costs and make your money last a little longer. And take a close look at your rainy day fund to see how long your savings can cover a long-term shutdown.
Talking about someone's financial stability, it extends, right? Because there's families that share incomes and are dependent on that income. So not even the government employees directly, but all of the indirectness. So we see a lot of that here at the credit union.
And she adds, little changes can make a big difference. Simple things like reducing how much you dine out or get takeout, pause or unsubscribe from streaming services and publications, putting off large purchases that you may not need right now. And if you have trouble paying your mortgage or rent, reach out to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to learn about support from certified housing counselors. Olivia, back over to you.
Rob, thank you. Meanwhile, the Salvation Army of Louisville says it's in the middle of a food shortage.
They say demand has increased by 300% in the recent weeks. The Salvation Army opens their doors today for its weekly food pantry. Depending on how many people show up to today's event, they may have to cut back the amount of food they give out. Major Mark Hunter says months of rising food costs are taking a toll on Louisville families.
They're scared. They're continuing to see that it's not getting any better, and so they're worried, like most of us are. And so hopefully the community can come together, help us be prepared for whatever may come in the next weeks or months.
The Salvation Army has launched an emergency food campaign asking for money and food donations, and we have more ways to help. You can find that by going to wave3.com. Just look for this story.
Coming up, Hurricane Melissa will be historic for Jamaica and the Caribbean. We'll give you a live look at the island and the latest developments in this catastrophic storm after the break.
Rain and wind is striking Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa is eyeing that island. This is some live feeds from there this morning. Fallen trees and power outages have been reported already ahead of the storm. It's been blamed for 7 deaths in the Caribbean, including 3 in Jamaica. Jamaica hasn't had a direct hit from a hurricane in over a decade and never one of this magnitude. It is a Category 5. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness says landslides and flooding are the biggest concerns. Hurricane Melissa would be the strongest hurricane in recorded history to hit them. The last destructive hurricane that happened in Jamaica was 1988, and that is what the hurricane hunters found when they flew into the eye. And you can just see how intense that eye is.
I mean, I even heard reports of birds being stuck in the eye because they couldn't get out.
Yeah, that's pretty normal with any kind of hurricane because as it basically forms around them, they're trapped inside the center of the eye of that hurricane. So yeah, that's not nothing new, but it's still, I'm sure, pretty terrifying for those birds there. We're continuing to keep an eye on this massive and very dangerous storm. One thing that I've noticed over just the past hour, look how condensed the center of this storm has become in just the past hour. So yeah, I think that this storm is actually speeding up a little bit more. The last update we had was that it was moving at 5 miles per hour. As of right now, I think it's moving a little bit faster than that as it's pushing towards the island of Jamaica. So it has winds right now of 175 miles per hour, gusting to 215 miles per hour. This storm has just been hovering south of Jamaica for the past several days. Now that it's starting to speed up, it is going to move very quickly. By the time we reach into tomorrow morning, it's expected to be making landfall somewhere along the southern coast of Cuba. Then eventually, by the time we get into Thursday morning, it should be crossing over the Bahamas. And by Friday, it should be somewhere near Bermuda, still at least as a Category 1 storm. So yeah, this is the most intense hurricane that we have seen in the Atlantic basin this year. And this is the only one that we have seen significantly impacting the Caribbean as well. So it is something we're going to continue to keep a close eye on. Looking towards downtown Louisville and Spaghetti Junction, you can see those raindrops there on the camera as we still have these showers pushing through our region. This is very light stuff though, but we're continuing continuing to watch it anywhere from near Seymour all the way south towards portions of Harrison County, Orange County, even into Crawford County, getting in on this light rain. That steady rainfall showing up all across Floyd County and Clark County. Same thing for those of you in Oldham County, and especially more so in the metro. This is where that rain is coming down a little bit more. Still relatively light to moderate rainfall though there. Now from Mount Washington towards Lebanon and Attila, you're seeing some of these light showers as well. So everybody getting in on the showers to start off the day. With the clouds, with the rain, our temperatures are still hovering in the upper 40s and the low 50s. Now keep in mind, you're going to be watching some of these showers lingering through the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour. And as those continue, your temperatures are not going to budge very much. But as we get further into this afternoon, we will try to warm up into the mid 50s for your highs. Overall for today, less than 1/10 of an inch of rainfall expected in most spots. But tomorrow is when we'll add in even more of that rain coming our way, with another cold front pushing in from the west. The widespread rainfall expected from the morning into the afternoon, into the evening hours. By the time we roll into your Thursday morning, though, that is when we finally start to dry out, and we'll talk about around 1 to 2 inches of rain with that system for tomorrow into early Thursday. For Halloween, still looking pretty good with some sunshine. The weekend featuring a few extra clouds with a small rain chance, and next week, as of right now, looking a little warmer. Ladies.
Thank you. Former Clark County Council member John Miller is having his trial pushed back to April. Miller is charged with breaking Indiana's conflict of interest law. Prosecutors say he accepted meals, gifts, and travel from former Sheriff Jamie Knoll while voting to fund several contract extensions between Knoll's New Chapel EMS and Clark County. Miller's lawyer argued it would only be conflict of interest if Miller was a direct part to the contracts. Special Judge Larry Medlock has denied those arguments twice, saying the case should go to trial. The trial was supposed to start yesterday. It's being delayed, though, until April. Miller has pleaded not guilty to the charge.
A judge has set a $100,000 bond for a Louisville man charged with murder. A grand jury indicted 46-year-old Fragus Four for murder and 2 counts of possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. Police say he shot and killed Paul McMahon on Patton Court back in May. Yesterday, Ford asked for a public defender, and a judge agreed. Ford's next court date is set for December 5th.
The man accused of killing political activist Charlie Kirk appeared back in the courtroom during the hearing Monday. Tyler Robinson and his attorneys asked the court to allow him to appear in regular clothes and no restraints during his in-person hearings. The judge only allowed half of that request, though, so Robinson will be able to appear in civilian clothes, but he will have restraints. The judge says Robinson appearing in jail clothes could influence future jury selection. Another hearing scheduled for this week has been delayed. Lawyers say they need more time for discovery and to brief their motions. Robinson is due back in court January 16th.
The Trump administration is planning another shakeup at Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The administration is reportedly frustrated that ICE agents aren't arresting more people. Earlier this year, President Trump set a goal for ICE to arrest 3,000 illegal immigrants a day, but the agency has fallen short of that goal. ICE has 25 field offices, and sources say a dozen directors at those offices could be replaced for underperforming.
If you enjoy long walks, it could pay off in the long run by helping you live longer. Researchers found adults who walked for more than 10 minutes at a time had much lower risks of heart disease and early death. The study looked at more than 33,000 adults in the UK. Researchers said taking a few longer walks rather than many short ones made a difference in helping to regulate blood pressure, improve circulation, and reduce stress. Doctors say gaining the endurance to take longer full-bodied walks is like gradually training and building muscle, and it is worth it. So since we walk every morning, good for us.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, we're going to live longer now. Well, coming up, it's set to be a historic weekend for horse racing.
Yeah, the best thoroughbreds in the world gearing up for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Which Kentucky Derby rematches will highlight the racing card.
Oh, big weekend coming up for the 2025 Breeders' Cup World Championships.
And NBC racing analyst Donna Brothers was here at Wave yesterday talking about it. She says this year's races are going to be some of the best ever. Friday kicks off the start to 2 full days of racing in Del Mar, California. Whichever horse wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile will become the early favorite for the 2026 Kentucky Derby. And then on Saturday is the Breeders' Cup Classic, and some of the biggest veterans in horse racing are about to face off against each other.
First time that we've ever had the 1, 2, 3 finishers from last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. But this year, we're also having those 3 come back, and they're coming up against the horses that finished 1, 2, 3 in this year's Kentucky Derby. So we've got the 3-year-olds of this year facing off with the old tried and true veterans from the last couple of years. And believe me, it's going to be the best Breeders' Cup race we've had in ever.
Wow. Okay. So this year's Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty will be in the race along with Journalism and Baeza, and they'll be racing against last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner Sierra Leone and Fierceness and Forever Young from Japan. You can watch the coverage right here on Wave News and NBC starting at 12:30 p.m. on Saturday. That's going to be quite a big one.
And keep an eye on the Juvenile too, because usually a favorite there for the Derby.
Yeah.
So that's something a lot of our locals will want to watch.
We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. This morning, we're learning more about what led to a woman being shot and the suspected gunman being killed by police. Tiffany Ramirez's son says he was standing right by his mom when she was shot in the head on Ridgecrest Road early yesterday morning. Her son says he was celebrating his 20th birthday before the shooting. He says one of his friends started arguing with his mother and then shot her in the head. LMPD says Frank Aguilar was holding a gun when they got to the scene, and police asked him to drop the weapon several times. He did not. An officer then shot and killed Aguilar. LMPD is expected to release body camera video of the shooting within 10 business days. Here's meteorologist Tawana Andrew and more of that rain today.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing it quite clearly on our SkyTrack camera downtown. Mainly very light showers pushing through, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But they do stretch anywhere from portions of Adair County all the way into the Seymour area, with the metro kind of locked in with those showers this morning. So just have the rain gear handy, especially for the morning hours. We're sitting in the 40s and low 50s right now. Do not expect our temperatures to move a whole lot for today with the clouds, with that rain. So for most of the day, once you get rid of the morning showers, we will talk about drier conditions, cloudy conditions, some drizzle still possible here and there through the late morning and into the afternoon, with those highs in the mid 50s for most of us. And we see widespread heavier rainfall showing up once we roll into tomorrow. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Still keeping our eyes on a trouble spot for you on this soggy Tuesday morning. We're talking about 264 East, the ramp to Brownsboro Road. You can see the emergency responders out here. The reports of a two-car crash slowing things down. That happened about 25-30 minutes ago, so do watch your speed through that area. Again, this is 264 at Brownsboro Road, a two-car crash. Otherwise, not looking too bad throughout the area. Just a lot of fog out there. Keep those windshield wipers on throughout the morning.
Good Tuesday morning to you. Hope you had a good Monday, even though it was a bit soggy out there. Maybe you made some chili like I did, or some soup to enjoy, and maybe you'll even have leftovers for the next couple of days, because it seems like we're going to need it. We have some soup-like weather out there for the next couple of days, meaning we're probably going to be sloshing around in the soup like the water out there and all the puddles, and enjoying some soup inside. But I want to get straight into those headlines, because today kicks off a series of public meetings hosted by Metro government about data centers in Louisville. City officials will be holding public comment meetings to get input on how data centers should be regulated within the city. It's part of their effort to research regulations and update the zoning code. The Metro Council Planning and Zoning Committee passed a moratorium on issuing new permits for data centers last week. The first meeting on zoning will be at Locust Grove tonight at 5:30. And you can find the rest of the dates over on wave3.com. A transitional housing project will move forward in Shepherdsville after a vote from the city council. Mark 12 Ministries wants to build space that will allow 12 people to go through life skills programs to get back on their feet. The project will be built between Charles Hamilton Way and Old Preston Highway. Shepherdsville City Council had previously voted against the project. Those critical on council say they were concerned about safety, but in a new motion last night, that allowed the Planning Commission's previous zoning for the project to be approved. Councilmember Bonnie Enlow cited concerns about a potential lawsuit for the change of vote. While Mark 12 will be able to move forward with the project, Shepherdsville mayor says the city will hold the organization accountable for any safety concerns.
If it's not what you, Perry, and you guys say that is, we'll shut it down. And I mean that not to be derogatory. I do it in a loving way. We appreciate people, what they do in our community, but we do need to make sure it's understood. There's an expectation. And I think if you do exactly what you do, it's going to make an impact in the right way.
The director of Mark 12 Ministries said he never threatened the council with a lawsuit, but said if the proposal had been denied, they would have looked at other options. A champion of Churchill Downs is now being remembered in downtown Louisville. We're talking about that man right there, John Asher. He was given his own hometown hero banner. Asher worked for years as the racetrack's vice president of communications. Over his career, Asher won numerous awards tied to the horse racing industry. He died in 2018 at the age of 62 from a heart attack. His hometown hero banner went up at Presentation Academy. It's a place that his wife says means so much to their family.
He would absolutely love it. It's the perfect location here at Presentation where all of our daughters went to school. When the first one walked through those doors, we just felt the community of this school just kind of embrace us.
The Hometown Heroes program began in 2002. If you'd like to submit someone who you feel is deserving, you can visit the website for the Greater Louisville Pride Foundation. Post positions for one of the biggest horse races in the world have been released, but one notable name is missing. Jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. will not participate in the 42nd Breeders' Cup. That's because he's still recovering after a nasty fall at Churchill Downs on September 21st. Hernandez was rushed to the hospital with 7 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and other injuries. He tells Wave he'll have to miss racing this weekend, but he hopes to return to the track at Churchill Downs in a couple of weeks, and we are wishing him well in his recovery. He has a great spirit behind it. Sean Diddy Combs is scheduled to be released from prison in May of 2028. Combs was sentenced earlier this month to 50 months in prison on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, and he's been credited with time served while awaiting trial. Combs, however, was acquitted on the more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. His expected release date is set for May 8th, 2028, according to public records. In addition to the prison term, the judge also ordered a $500,000 fine and 5 years of supervised release. President Donald Trump is holding his first meeting with Japan's first female prime minister. It comes as a way to strengthen trade ties, but as a close U.S. ally and setting the stage for his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. NBC's Tracy Wilkins has details from Washington.
President Donald Trump will be in Japan and South Korea today as he continues his 7-day trip through Asia. Topping the agenda at every stop is trade, with negotiators still ironing out the details of pacts with South Korea and Japan and taking steps toward agreements with China and Malaysia.
We're going to do tremendous trade together, I think more than ever before.
Trump met with Japan's newly elected prime minister, who is navigating the country's pledge of a tenth of Japan's economy, $550 billion to fund American projects and hopefully avoid higher tariffs.
We're just signing a new deal, and it's a very fair deal. And we look forward to welcoming Japan into the United States and a continuation. And it's something that everybody is very, very excited about.
Chinese delegations were meeting over the weekend to find a way to also avoid higher tariffs after Trump threatened a 100% increase on Chinese goods. During his upcoming meeting with President Xi, Trump said he also plans to raise the issue of fentanyl, accusing China of failing to curb its flow into the U.S. Meanwhile, back at home, Vice President J.D. Vance is preparing to meet with fellow Republicans to discuss the shutdown. The largest union representing federal workers is calling for an end, pressuring Democrats, while federal workers are feeling the brunt.
It's a lot of uncertainty. Bills continue to pile up. I have car notes. I have children to feed. I have a family to take care of. I have a mortgage to pay. So it's a lot of uncertainty.
In Washington, Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
We have a recall alert to tell you about now. A barbecue pulled pork sandwich being recalled because it could contain plastic. That doesn't sound safe or tasty at all. The Deli Express barbecue pulled pork sandwich is sold at grocery stores. It's made by E.A. Sween. No injuries have been reported yet, but ingesting plastic particles can present a choking hazard. So if you bought the sandwich, you can return it to wherever you bought it or ask E.A. Sween for a refund. A key inflation report released last week shows prices have risen at the fastest pace since the start of the year. It comes as we get ready to enter the holiday season. Jen Sullivan looks at the prices of some key holiday staples and explains why your Thanksgiving meal will likely cost more this year.
The cost of food continues to rise. A key inflation report shows September grocery prices are up 2.7% from a year ago.
Nobody wins. We don't win, the customer doesn't win, the supplier doesn't win.
Stu Leonard Jr. is the CEO of Stu Leonard's grocery chain. He says tariffs have caused the prices of some items like shrimp to go up, forcing them to buy elsewhere.
We've had to stop buying shrimp from Brazil. We went down to Ecuador, even Vietnam and Thailand.
And it's not just seafood prices going up. Taking a deeper look at this latest inflation report, food prices for many popular ingredients in holiday dishes are up, meaning your Thanksgiving meal will likely cost you more this year. Potatoes, meats, fresh vegetables, bakery products, and alcohol prices are all up from a year ago.
It certainly adds up.
Bankrate financial analyst Stephen Cates says there are a variety of factors impacting prices.
Tariffs can have an impact, but crops can have an impact. Quality, quantity, sourcing, all of that can impact what that is.
The biggest sticker shock this season is turkey. The annual wholesale price for frozen turkey is about $1.32 per pound. That's roughly 40% higher than last year, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. There is some good news. Eggs and butter have both dropped in price in the last year. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Well, here's something I am looking forward to this week, and we're setting our clocks back an hour, but that might also mean it's time to think about improving your sleeping habits, especially as nearly 40% of adults in the U.S. are sleep deprived. Dr. Nancy Foldberry with Cleveland Clinic says there are many healthy habits we can adopt when it comes to getting better sleep, like not eating right before bed or exercising. Both can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. She recommends keeping a consistent routine, and she also says when you're constantly getting under 7 hours of sleep, you put your body and brain at risk for consequences later in life.
If we are allowing ourselves to sleep in at various times, we're allowing ourselves to probably compensate for chronic sleep loss, which we don't want to do. If we're waking up at 6:30 or 7 during the week, but then sleeping till 10 on the weekends, that's either a sleep problem, maybe a medical or psychiatric problem, or it's compensatory for being chronically sleep deprived. None of these things are good.
Dr. Foldberry says if your sleep issues don't seem to be improving with time, it's important to talk to your doctor because they can help figure out if something else is wrong. I have to say, I know I'm sleep deprived, but probably just the work schedule there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra coming up in 2 minutes. Oh, here's something so many of us are looking forward to seeing, part 2 of Wicked. But a 25-year-old actress from Wisconsin is helping to rewrite the narrative for people with disabilities, making it more inclusive. Nicole Herzog has the story.
I think we're just about as excited as anyone else.
Sean and Patricia Bodie are still feeling the magic of Oz, all the way from Maizomanie.
It really has been exciting for this community, this small community, and not just Maizomanie, but what is called Wisconsin Heights. People just love her and they love what she represents.
Their daughter Marissa is shattering stereotypes both on and off screen, and the new movie, For Good, is taking that role to the next level. In the musical version of Wicked, there's a moment where Nessa Rose is given the ability to walk, but Marissa will be the first to carry out an inclusive twist, brand new to the film adaptation.
I remember sitting down with John and he was telling me about the change, and I did feel a little bit of relief because I think it's a healthier way to represent disabled people. I think it's a common misconception that the deepest desire of a disabled person is to be healed or to be fixed. And while that can be true for some, for a lot of us, that's not our story.
It goes with the whole thing that everyone deserves a chance to fly. And here we see Marissa up in the air. That's what she wants to be.
By adapting the storyline, her parents say people with disabilities may be inspired to rewrite their own stories.
It lets them know that, they can reach for their dreams just like she did. Because, even after she became disabled and was no longer able to walk, she didn't give up on her dreams. She just, stuck with it.
As Marissa points out, you can be disabled at any time, at any moment. And it doesn't have to be visible. It can be invisible. And that shouldn't stop you from being noticed, recognized, and making adjustments, whether it's the workplace or in the community.
Marissa is not only representing wheelchair users in her starring role, but using her platform for advocacy.
Well, how does it feel to be able to have that role and, kind of take the lead on this, inspiring so many people?
It's been really cool, especially for the disabled community. Representation is important and all of that. Also, I think that just hits the iceberg of disability rights issues that are still ongoing today. And so the thing I think I want to inspire others to do most is be allies.
She says she hopes the role will also inspire audiences to stand up for people with disabilities.
Include disabled people in your spaces. Make sure that your spaces are accessible every day,
so that everyone has a chance to fly.
And Marissa was incredible as Nessa Rose in the first movie. So excited to see her there in the second one. And what an inspirational story she has to share. Going now to basketball, U of L men's basketball will be back in action tonight at the KFC Yum Center for their second and final exhibition before the regular season starts next Monday. The Cards will be trying to right their wrongs after falling to 19th ranked Kansas last Friday in the first exhibition game of the season. The Cards lost by a score of 90-82. Tonight's game is a charity exhibition game raising funds for the Kentuckiana Friends of V Foundation, which raises money for cancer research, education, and cancer-related initiatives. The game was conceptualized by U of L staff and radio color analyst Bob Valvano, who established KFV. The Cards chose to play Bucknell against Bob's brother, the late great Jim Valvano, was once the head coach of the team. Tip-off for that game is at 7 o'clock tonight, and you can watch it on ACC Network Extra. Lou City FC's goalkeeper Damian Loss earned the USL Championship's Gold Glove after conceding at a rate of just 0.70 goals per game during the 2025 league season. It marks the second time a Lou City goalkeeper has earned the honor after Kyle Morton won it in 2022. Loss posted 10 shutouts in 26 league appearances for Lou City. He recorded 72 saves with multiple saves in all but 3 of his appearances and an 80% save rate. He and his team conceded just 19 goals this season. That's the fewest in the USL Championship, marking the second best defensive record in club history. Congratulations to him for that big award. Well, late October in Kentucky means it's time for high school sports state tournaments. So right now, talking about field hockey in the Commonwealth, we're down to just the final 2 teams. But looking back at yesterday, down to 4 teams, and they're all from here in Wave Country. The semifinals were held at Christian Academy. Cal took on Ballard, and Assumption versus their rivals Sacred Heart Academy. So in the first game of the night, Cal defeated Ballard by a score of 4-1. Then in game 2, that big rivalry game, Assumption taking on Sacred Heart, and the Valkyries won that. The final score 3-0. So the championship game is set. That'll be between Cal and Sacred Heart. It'll be tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at Christian Academy. And I have to say, I'm cheering for my Valkyries. They're going for an undefeated season this year. Well, Oscar winner Emma Stone has worked with filmmaker Yorgos Lanthimos on several movies. Their last collaboration is a remake of an award-winning South Korean film, Save the Green Planet. David Daniel has a look.
They want you to think it's you, that it's you who made this world, but it's always been them.
2 young men kidnap a powerful CEO, hoping it'll help save the world in Begonia.
Welcome to the headquarters of the human resistance.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed to prevent you from contacting your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership?
Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons square off in darkly comic scenes in a basement.
There is no possible scenario where you benefit from this incident.
That was really good. My pulse is racing right now. I remember cracking up when we were rehearsing it, but then by the time we got into the basement, it didn't seem as funny.
You know this is crazy. You know this is wrong.
They don't really know how to kidnap somebody. They don't really have the resources or the wherewithal or the presence of mind to do what they need to do, which is, in their minds, save the planet.
I've done a ton of research on this. You're killing our planet.
Alien fellas. I'm not an alien.
You're lying to me.
What's the difference?
I think all of the films that I make want to challenge, the way we think about certain things, or shed a light to human nature and behavior that we might not notice necessarily.
I know who you are. I know what you are.
I know you too.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Okay, just watching that teaser right there is enough to creep me out. Maybe have to check out that movie. Well, have you ever wondered if a giant pumpkin could crush a car? We have the answer to that. Check this out. And there it goes. Yep, it can do it. That's a 2,000-pound pumpkin dropping from nearly 14 stories onto a 1991 Geo Metro. A pumpkin farmer in Utah decided to use this method to get rid of his old car over the weekend. The owner drove the car for nearly 35 years until it stopped running. Prior to the destruction of both the car and the pumpkin, the car owner entered that pumpkin into the Utah Giant Pumpkin Festival weigh-off. It came in first place, weighing in at 1,917 pounds. A massive pumpkin right there. Yeah, I would say that can definitely crush a car, and now we know for sure. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with some Halloween news coming up in just 2 minutes. Well, just in time for Halloween, a museum in Minnesota is doing something unusual. The center is letting its collection of creepy dolls curate a month-long exhibit of artifacts from its archives because we know people can be creeped out by dolls sometimes. Marielle Mose has that story.
It all started with a doll, the kind that watches you from across the room, or the ones you find in your grandparents' attic and immediately wish you didn't. But for Chris Delisle,
So here's some of the dolls we have.
these lost and forgotten dolls connect us to history.
And I'm really interested in what people resonate with and why they connect with these objects and like what takes them back in their minds to the memories of their childhood.
Here at the History Center of Olmsted County, the staff didn't run away. They gave the dolls keys to the vault.
The idea was that the dolls become the curators for this show. They pick the objects that they relate to the most.
Turns out these tiny terror guides have an eye for local history. And here in Rochester, that history runs deep with medical equipment and agriculture.
They're the curators. They're doing the work.
For their 7th year, these pint-sized poltergeists were set loose among a collection of artifacts.
This one's cool. It was made in the 1860s and it was actually made in Salem, Massachusetts, which is, perfect.
Their mission? Unearth the strange and celebrate the forgotten, and terrify the living. There have been rumors of the grounds being haunted.
Once those kids hear something like that, their mind just goes crazy and they can't stop talking about that.
Delisle hasn't seen anything out of the ordinary yet,
But I do want to believe.
turning fear into fascination.
Some of these artifacts in here are so amazing and the stories they tell.
One unsettling stare at a time.
The funny thing is, those dolls are supposed to be cute toys for little girls, but they're somehow creepy. Well, something on the cooler side here. There's still time to see the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular in Iroquois Park. Thousands of remarkably carved pumpkins are on display until Sunday. This year's theme is Jack's Pun King Trail, so you can expect to see plenty of puns and jokes, and you can find a link to purchase tickets on wave3.com. For Disney fans who want a unique experience, the Louisville Orchestra is putting on quite the show this week. You can see Hocus Pocus in concert at Whitney Hall. The 1993 film will be shown on the big screen while the Louisville Orchestra performs John Debney's enchanting score live. The orchestra will also host a free trick-or-treat event in the lobby and surrounding areas of Whitney Hall before each performance. So the concert takes place tomorrow and Thursday with doors opening at 6 o'clock and the movie concert begins at 7:30. Families will enjoy some nerve-wracking fun on a new roller coaster at Kentucky Kingdom. It's called the Flying Fox, where you can join the pilot on a daring adventure. This is the park's 6th roller coaster, the most in one theme park in all of Kentucky. It's also the first new roller coaster added to the park since 2019. The Flying Fox can be found in Kentucky Kingdom's newest area, Discovery Meadow, and officials say it will make its debut for the 2026 park season. So something to look forward to next summer. That's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Tuesday and you can stay warm and stay dry with this rain coming down.